Dimly lit neon signs flicker in the rain-soaked alley, casting an eerie glow on a small, strange shop with a simple sign that has foreign symbols on it and the words Dark Decibels. A tall vendor inside the shop, slightly hunched with dark brown eyes, one just slightly smaller than the other, leans against an empty makeshift case. The hum of distant machinery echoes in the background, setting an almost ominous tone. The vendor, with a twisted smile, leans forward to welcome you in from the rain. Welcome, urban wanderer, to the twisted nexus where shadows dance to the rhythm of clandestine tales. Behold, the gateway to a realm where the neon pulse of the city intertwines with the chilling cadence of suspense. Mysteries that reverberate through the circuits of your mind. Dark Decibels whisper secrets you never knew existed, in a language only the night truly comprehends. Take a leap into the abyss, dear wanderer, where the boundary between man and machine blurs, and the echoes of thrill resonate through the veins of our reality. The vendor nods his head over to the empty makeshift case, as if beckoning you to reach for something that isn't there. You hesitantly look between him and the case, until you slowly reach your hand out to one of the shelves. It was a Friday night, and I had gone to bed early as I had work on Saturday morning. After reading in bed for a bit, I drifted off at around 10:30 p.m., only to wake up about an hour later to loud screams and people yelling profanities. I thought my girlfriend was watching a movie with the volume way up, and I went out into the lounge room to ask her to turn it down a little. Instead, the TV was off, and my girlfriend was staring at the front door with her eyes wide. Our apartment is on the ground floor of the building, and so our front door opens directly out into the lobby of the building. The voices in question were coming directly from the lobby. I couldn't make out specifics. In my defense, I was half asleep, and the language of the country I live in is not my first language. But there was a lot of swearing involved. My first thought was that it was some kind of domestic dispute, but after listening, I realized it was a group of men that sounded extremely aggressive. I looked at the WhatsApp group chat for my apartment building, and to my horror, I saw a message from one of the people in it that there were armed men in the building and that we should not leave our flats. Now, the country I live in is experiencing a marked uptick in crime, and I had heard stories of armed groups of men robbing entire apartment blocks, but these had seemed fairly apocryphal to me. However, my first thought was that these men were going to kick down our door and rob us. Suddenly, one of my dogs started to growl at the commotion outside, and I shushed him, and thankfully he obeyed. I heard a commotion in the apartment above me and went out to my patio to see what was happening, and I heard what sounded like a large piece of furniture being knocked over and women and children screaming in terror. At this point, I had no idea what was going on, but I knew that if their intent was to rob us, they would have done it already. My girlfriend and I decided to hide in a small shed at the end of our patio, monitoring the group chat on our phones. Our bigger dog silently stood watch outside the door of the shed, his eyes locked on the sliding glass door at the end of the patio. I would find my smaller dog later cowering between the washing machine and the dryer. After 10 extremely tense minutes, I heard the screeching of tires, signaling what I hoped was the perpetrators fleeing the scene. Eventually, someone in the group chat said the police had arrived, and breathing a huge sigh of relief, I came out of hiding and opened the front door. Alarmingly, on the floor of the lobby, there were zip ties that had been cut, and the security guard was talking to one of the tenants. The man was bleeding from a large gash on his face and looked extremely shaken. Over the next few hours, the story would unfold. The man I saw with the gash on his face was the tenant in the upstairs apartment, The one that I heard the commotion coming from. He was an owner of an import-export business and, for whatever reason, had a sizable sum of money in cash hidden in his apartment. Someone had obviously found out about it and planned out the robbery that woke me up from my sleep on Friday night. A group of 8 men had followed him into the apartment building's garage and ambushed him as he got out of his car, and judging from the gash on his face, roughed him up a bit. Some of the group of 8 had gone to the lobby, surprised the security guard, and zip-tied him. The remainder of the group had gone up to the apartment, robbed it, and then fled the scene. It's fairly chilling to think that armed men were mere meters from my front door. So, to the armed men that stormed my apartment building to steal my neighbor's cash, let's not meet. Thank you for listening. And if you have a short horror, sci-fi, or cyberpunk story you'd like read, share it with me through my email, mindmindpod@gmail.com.